I asked my boyfriend's girl best friend to plan our engagement party. Everyone said I was insane. When my boyfriend Pedro proposed, I saw an opportunity. You see, his girl best friend Fiona had been a pain in the neck the entire relationship. She had spread awful lies about me at the start, ruined a couple of dates by showing up uninvited, and even tried to accidentally kiss Pedro using some TikTok trend. But I'd dealt with mean girls before. And high school taught me that sometimes the best way to expose someone is to give them exactly what they want and let them destroy themselves. So that's exactly what I did when I told Pedro. I'd really love it if Fiona planned our engagement party. My mom actually begged me not to do it. My best friend said I was setting myself up for disaster, but I just smiled and said Pedro believes in her, and I believe in Pedro. Maybe we'd all been misunderstanding her intentions. She deserves a chance to prove herself, I told them gently. And when we told Fiona, she was thrilled, of course, not knowing I was the one hanging the poisoned apple by a thread. The planning phase started pretty typically for Fiona. She showed up to our first meeting with invitation samples for the party, but they were drawn with crayon, clearly created to be ugly and unprofessional. My friends exchanged horrified looks, but I just smiled and started adding ribbons and pressed flowers and old baby photos of Pedro and me onto the invites. Suddenly they looked adorable and unique. Fiona's face fell when everyone complimented them. Then came the venue booking. She'd somehow reserved the wrong date and ordered bland decorations, all problems I quickly fixed too. And soon people were starting to see the pattern. The engagement party itself was where things really escalated. Fiona had been in charge of the seating chart and strategically positioned herself between me and Pedro at the head table. I watched as people whispered and stared at her with confused expressions. Even Pedro's mom mentioned out loud that it was odd. I let the awkward tension stretch until it was absolutely painful. Then I finally spoke up with a bright smile and said, "Fiona, you're so funny. You've switched our seats by accident, right?" Fiona's face paled, suddenly being put on the spot. She quietly agreed and switched spots, but she still hadn't learned her lesson. An hour in, Fiona got up to play the slideshow she had prepared. It was supposed to be about our relationship, but maybe 80% of it was just photos of her and Pedro growing up. I sat there with a pleasant expression the whole time. When it ended, I sat up clapping and said, "Wow, you know you guys have seriously been friends for a long time." Some people giggled, catching the sarcasm. Fiona looked hurt but couldn't say anything until it was speech time, where she emphasized that she and Pedro weren't just friends, they were best friends. She ended her speech saying, "I love you, Pedro," while making this intense eye contact that only made him want to crawl under the table and hide instead. Even his mom had her hand over her mouth. The rest of the guests sat stiff in their seats, having a hard time hiding how much they hated her. But Fiona misread their stares for admiration, and when she watched Pedro step away from me on the dance floor, she thought she had won him back. I watched her slip out to the hallway, hand on her phone looking absolutely giddy, clearly bragging to her friend about the successful day. She was far enough away that she probably thought no one could hear her. That's when I sent one of my little nieces to go over there and hand Fiona a microphone. The little girl was so sweet about it. She approached